Hello, I'm the Brown Booktuber, and today we're going to be talking about Silence by Endō. I've recently been getting comments about people wanting me to read a book by a Japanese author, and coincidentally, as I got those comments, I started reading Silence. If you don't know, Silence is basically a classic. It is considered one of the greatest novels of the 20th century, written by Endō, who, we should be giving some context here, who was a Japanese Christian who travelled to France after he felt religiously discriminated in Japan. Then he went to France, and then he faced racial discrimination there. And this book is kind of about him discussing religion in Japan, his own struggle with religion. Why is religion a struggle? Should religion be a struggle? And just a very, very insightful look into a person's personal journey with religion. And this book also serves as a way of understanding and learning about Christianity in Japan. Obviously, I understood there is a very, very small Japanese population in Japan, a small Japanese population that is Christian in Japan, and they are a very, very religious, very small minority. But I didn't understand or know the tribulations and trials of Japanese Christians all that much. And wow, some of the stuff Endō talks about is crazy, and I went off and looked it up, and it's like, wow, the persecution these people faced is just insane. And obviously this isn't me being like, Christian missionaries were fantastic. Obviously they weren't, and coming from someone whose family is Christian because of Christian missionaries around the time of Silence being set, I obviously understand that, okay, well, they brought this Christianity, but also sometimes the way they went about it wasn't great, but also the persecution obviously isn't very good of Japanese Christians. But let's go more into Silence after we've gone over that background and my rambling. So, as I mentioned, Silence, look at this beautiful cover by the Picador Classics version, link in the description down below. Silence is a classic. It is a 20th century classic novel. It won multiple awards when it came out in Japan, and it is viewed as one of the best novels of the 20th century. And frankly, I agree. There is something about this book, the way it made me feel. Obviously, there was the tension of it, the tension of the priests being caught in Japan. For context, this book is about two priests who go to Japan to find a father, so another priest, but they refer to him as father. I'm sorry, my knowledge of Catholicism and its conventions isn't the best. They go find him because they've heard that he's renounced his faith, something that they were making Christians do in Japan, and they were like, why is this man we've respected so much renounced his faith? That can't be true. So they've gone to go find him, and whilst they're there, they've gone to try, help Japanese Christians embrace their Christianity and trying to help them learn more about their Christianity that they have so dear to them, but they don't have religious leaders. And this book is basically meant to be the journal of one of these priests, and he's telling about his journey to Japan and his time in Japan and the things he faces whilst he's in Japan. So, we've got that. The tension you feel, because there's this overhanging thing of, are they going to be caught by the Japanese? Are they going to be caught by the shoguns and the samurai? What's going to happen to them if they get caught? And I'm not going to go into any spoilers, except for I might read one quote that I really like from the book here. But that's overhanging this entire thing, but at the same point, you're also seeing this priest's thought process and how he and his fellow priest, they think very differently in the struggle of Christianity and how one should follow their religion and how one should see religion. Is it appropriate to ever change one's religion for others? Is it ever appropriate to look after oneself or view your religion as above you at all times? Should you risk your life for your religion, or should you come to some compromise with religion to try and live like a life that is safe, but also with God in your heart? and stuff like that. It's a very interesting dichotomy between these two very different characters. And this edition has a foreword by Scorsese, and it's actually pretty good. Well, why am I doubting Martin Scorsese's ability to write a good foreword, huh? But obviously he wrote a movie and directed a movie even. So the foreword is actually very good at talking about that and discussing that dichotomy between the two men and how one is understanding and seeing the struggle that one may face with Christianity, whilst the other one is completely saying, why are you struggling with your faith? There should be nothing you believe in more than your faith. And it's that. If you're religious, you may feel this way, where it's like, religion and believing in your religion, some people think you should never ever doubt your faith, and doubting your faith is wrong, or struggling with your faith is wrong, and you should follow it exactly how it is written out. Other people think your faith is stronger if you're questioning your faith throughout and you still believe in it. Depends on what camp you're in. I'm more so in the latter camp. I feel like thinking about one's faith, looking at the faith, understanding it and thinking critically about it and seeing what it is about it that makes you tick, and questioning things and going off and learning about them in more depth, I feel like that's a stronger way of showing your faith, especially if you continue to believe. But obviously, yay, maybe you can write about that in the comments down below. But that's what I think is the thing that really gets me ticking with this book. There's especially parts towards the end where that tension and the idea of what is faith and how one should struggle with their faith, they really come together. And that's just one part of it. The other part of it is just how Endō describes Japan and how Japan works with Christianity, or at least in Endō's thought process and in interviews, he kind of said this, how Japan and Christianity, and that being mainstream Christianity, or at least Catholicism in his case, how they don't exactly go together. They're different things. And in his opinion, he thinks that Christianity needs to change a bit to merge with Japan. Why am I doing the heart sign? Has to change a bit to merge with Japan, because he, and I won't give any context for this, but there was a character that describes Japan as a mud swamp. And I read a few articles about that from different points of view, people who are religious and people who aren't religious, and also Endō's quotation of using mud swamp himself. Again, this is in the English translation, so it might be very different in Japanese, I don't know. But the way you see mud swamp is Japan, in the sense Endō is describing it in the book, is it takes in things and they are changed because of the swamp that it sucks in, and the result is Christianity has come to Japan and it's been sucked in, and it has to be changed, or Japan itself sucks things in and changes them. And it really comes after a very pivotal point in the book, and it really hits harder home when you read it after that point in the book. Honestly, I very, very much enjoyed this. Going back to the film I mentioned earlier, I wish I could have watched it and done a slight comparison like I did with my JJK Zero review, but I'll be honest, I couldn't find it anywhere where I didn't have to pay extra to watch it, and the only place I could find it to rent was Amazon, and I don't really want to give Amazon any more money than I already am. So unfortunately, I couldn't do that. But if you've watched the movie, let me know in the comments down below how good it is. If you've watched the movie and read the book, give me a comparison in the comments down below. I'd love to know. But I 100% think you should pick up Silence. Again, I tried to keep this as spoiler-free as possible, because if you haven't read this book, or watched the movie, I suppose, I really just want you to experience it for the first time, because I've not watched the movie, and I'm glad I read the book first before ever watching the movie, because I think this is great going into just as blind as possible. Obviously, I knew a little bit about the book itself when I was buying it, but I wanted to go in as blind as possible, and I really appreciate that I did. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below if you have read Silence, your opinions on it. If you've watched Silence, your opinions on it. I want to say thank you to all the really nice comments I've been getting recently, and obviously I don't have a lot of subscribers, but those of you who are new subscribers have been very kind and lovely, and you've given me that vigor to want to make videos here again. And I'm going to be doing some more fiction books because I've been reading a lot of non-fiction, and I think fiction might be a little bit more engaging in this kind of format. But let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for the lovely comments, and I hope you read a great book today.